So for the sake of this video, guys, sometimes you watch a video, you look it up, and you're like, yo, when is it the perfect time to sell a losing stock? And you kind of just ask that question because you're losing money in the stock. But then what about the stocks that are actually making money? When is it okay to actually sell those? Okay, so before I answer the question that's the title of this video, I really want to answer that one first. Okay, so just a few days ago, I was looking up basically on YouTube, just like roaming around like I always do, and I found like the Dogecoin millionaire, and all of a sudden I found out this guy lost a bunch of money because this guy really never sold. And to me, I was like, that's pretty crazy. And I also remember my cousin. My cousin, he made $1,000 bet. And that $1,000 bet turned into around $65,000. And I told him, hey, you got extremely lucky with this. You don't know how you did this. You can't redo this. The odds are actually pretty slim. Take your ball and go home. Okay? And what that basically means is basically, hey, if you put in $1,000 and you made 65K, or if you put in like this guy 150K and you made $3 million, well, take out 2.5 million. Take out 2.7 million. Take out 2.8 million and leave the money you put in there originally and let the house go crazy with that money. But take the money out. That's when you actually take money out of an investment, especially when you don't understand it, okay? And as far as, for example, an investment you do understand, when an investment goes beyond what it's actually worth intrinsically, and you actually see that it's actually not going somewhere and it's just weird, well, that might be also a sign to go ahead and sell it. So as always, guys, do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified, and let's dive straight into this video. The first thing is, guys, there is this theory, and it's called catching a fallen knife theory. Just made it up, but not really, because the term exists, but it's not really your theory. Just put theory because it sounds fancy. But if you have a fallen knife like this, right? You throw a knife in the air. Do I have a knife here? No, I have a pen, right? Imagine this is a knife, and I throw it into the air, and I try to catch it, right? I just caught the pen. Pretty cool stuff, right? I do stunts in this video too. But overall, a knife is a lot more dangerous because it can cut you. So if you buy a stock, and that stock is $100, and it goes down to $50, you just lost, for example, like, let's say it went down, right? But guess what? For that stock that went down by 50%, to go back up to $100, it has to go up by 100%. It has to double in price. Well, not really double in price. Just make, 50 times 2, you make 100. Okay, that's basically what I'm saying, all right? But that's the whole idea. It's pretty tough to actually happen. And the question always arises, Tommy, but how low can the stock actually go? The answer is it can go all the way to zero. A stock can go all the way to zero. And that's why when Warren Buffett talks about the stock market, he always says, number one rule is don't lose money. Number two is don't forget rule number one. And it's because your only way of making money in the stock market is via having capital to actually put to work in the stock market. So whenever you lose money via an investment, guess what happens? You just lost money. And the more money you lose, the more problems you actually get. There is a fundamental rule here, which is basically beyond what point do you let a stock go down? You can let a stock go all the way down from 100 to $1, and you can still keep buying and justify buying it because you understand the investment. But for the most part, most people watching this video right now, because I kind of know you guys, right? Overall, most people watching this video right now, you don't know exactly how to select an investment based on intrinsic value. That means its overall value. Talk about more about that later in this video. But the idea is, if you bought a stock just based on luck, or based because everybody else was investing into it, or you found it on Reddit, you found it on Instagram, you're like, I'm gonna buy this one, or you heard about it from a YouTube guy, I'm gonna buy this one, and you're losing money now, you're like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what it's worth. Most likely the best decision you can basically make is just basically sell, take your money, and put it into an investment you really understand. Sometimes you're going to take an L, and usually like 90% of the time, the minute you sell a stock is gonna go up in value. The minute you keep holding it, it's going to keep going down. I don't know how that works or why it works, but it's a problem. Now, the perfect time to sell a stock is when the fundamental change. That's when you're basically making a good investment as far as this, okay? So let's say, for example, I want to figure out exactly how much a chicken is worth. It's a hen, so it obviously gives me eggs. Now, let's say this chicken is going to live 10 years. So you have a deadline for the age of this chicken. And every single year, this chicken's going to make me, for example, one egg. Terrible chicken, right? So just one egg. Each egg is worth $10. So overall, 10 years is going to make me $10 in profit, net profit, after all expenses covered, just owner's free cash flow. That's basically $10 times 10 years. I'm going to make $100 from this investment. But then I also want to go ahead and discount that $100 to today's money, because guess what? I could grab $100 today and invest it and make 5% on another investment. And that's $5 every single year I could be making, but I'm giving up my investment right now to hold on to this chicken for the next 10 years and just make $100, okay? So that's the equation on how you actually figure out intrinsic value. So find out exactly how much money can you take out this business, clean money, over the lifetime of this business, and you have to discount it to the appropriate amount of money you could basically make right now. And that could be 5%, that could be 6%. It all depends, for example, on the premiums when it comes to bonds. A little bit more complicated, but the idea is you could have this chicken that I basically bought, right? And let's say I bought this chicken for $10, right? I bought this whole chicken for $10. It's going to make me basically $100. That's probably a good investment, right? But then everyone is saying, Tommy, sell the chicken. I'm like, why? Sell the chicken. The stock is down, okay? To sell it. And I checked the chicken business and it's like, hey, the farmer is still there. It's still eating well. The chickens are healthy. They're still making eggs appropriately. People are still buying it. The business is still solid, but the stock is going down like crazy. That tells me I want to buy more. So there is a time that if the stock is going down, it is appropriate to buy the dip. And that's when you understand the fundamental value of the stock. So when I run the math again and I say, hey, wait. People are saying the stock is only worth like a dollar, but I know it's going to be worth basically like $10. That's what it's basically worth. And people are like selling for a dollar. I want to buy it at a dollar because I know what it's actually worth. But if you don't know what it's worth, you sell it. So here is my advice and conclusion. It's a very simple video. It's not that complicated. It's a very simple rule of thumb. If you have an investment and you don't understand it, you have no business owning it. And you have to get rid of this whole FOMO thing. Yes, there is an idea of, what if I get lucky? You know, when it comes to the lottery, they always announce a winner, but they never talk about every other person that basically lost. People lose a bunch, okay? So if you made money, if you got lucky, you sell it, especially when you don't understand it. If you understand investments and the fundamentals and you understand intrinsic value and how business works overall, you probably wouldn't be watching this video, right? So I don't have to give you advice, but just in case you are planning to learn about investments and you're planning to basically be a professional stock picker, the idea is you're investing based on intrinsic value, what the company is actually worth overall, not what the stock market is saying it's worth. So when you're buying something and the price goes down dramatically, but the business is still sound, you buy more. That's why when a stock Warren Buffett buys and he still thinks is actually pretty good, he basically goes ahead and buys even more. But that's also why when he owns a stock he buys and the fundamentals change, he goes ahead and sell. For example, Delta. Delta was a company that Warren Buffett was actually invested into. When the pandemic happened, he saw massive slowdowns. And he was like, hey, if I calculate the trajectory over the lifetime of this business, it's not going to be appropriate because these people, although business might go back to normal, they're going to borrow so much money, it's just going to be such a stock that's not really going to be that great. So that's why he basically sold. So the idea is, if you make some money, you don't know how you did it, sell. Find investments you really understand. This way you're good to go. But the perfect time to sell is not in December. It's not, for example, when you have a tax loss or whatever it is. The perfect time to sell is basically when you don't know what the heck you're doing. Even when you have a profit, when you have a loss. And that's what I recommend. And that's what I personally did back then. I had 128% profit on Delta. I sold it because I knew I got lucky. I bought GoPro when I was just getting started. I was like 19 years old or so. And I bought GoPro at around $30. GoPro today is like $4. You know why my whole idea was of buying GoPro? Well, the price was like $30, but it used to be like 40. I was like, well, if it was 40, now it's 30 and it's down, it's probably going to go back up. No, the fundamentals change. People don't care about those little cameras anymore. They're not going to sell as much. If I knew that, how to just use common sense, I wouldn't have lost that money. But that's the idea. Don't be afraid to sell. You know, a stock can go all the way to zero and you could lose all your money. Better to lose a fraction and put your money to work in something else than to lose everything. Guys, that's it for this video. It's not that complicated, all right? So comment down below, complicated, in the comments down below so I know you made it all the way to the end of the video. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified, and let me know exactly what stocks are you holding on to that you don't understand. And that's fine, by the way. It's normal when you first start investing, okay? It's just like the tradition when you first start. It's normal. But thanks for watching, guys. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. Up here is another banger. Over here is my face. And as always, long-term team officially out.